Lowe's Surface Source floating plank might just be the easiest floor you'll ever install. You'll find that a Surface Source floating plank installation doesn't have messy adhesives, requires only a few simple tools, and the 6-inch by 36-inch plank size all make for a simple, quick, and easy installation. Floating plank can be installed over subfloors like plywood, particle board, OSB, lightweight concrete, and existing resilient floors. Be sure to remove all moldings, undercut door casings, and finally, sweep the floor thoroughly. You're now ready to start the installation. First, choose the direction of the planks. Generally, they should run parallel to the longest wall. Next, you'll want to assure that the plank widths are balanced along the walls in the room, so that you don't end up with a narrow row of planks against your finishing wall. Follow these simple steps. Measure the width of the room between the longest walls and find the distance to the center. Divide that distance by the plank width of 6 inches. If the remainder is more than 3 inches, start your first row with the plank widths trimmed to that dimension. If the remainder turns out to be less than 3 inches, half a plank width, simply add 3 inches to the remainder, and that will give you the width of the starting row. By following this procedure, your last row of planks will have widths equal to those in the first row and never less than 3 inches. You are now ready to install the first row of planks. Always start in the left corner facing the starting wall, and make sure that the adhesive film faces out away from the wall. Pull the long strip of release paper back and remove the small end strip. You can place the end of the second plank against the end of the one on the floor and press it into the adhesive. Continue until you reach the last plank of the row, where you must make a cut. Measure the distance from the plank to the end wall and subtract 1/8 inch. Mark the plank and place it over a cutting board. With a sharp utility knife against a straight edge or carpenter square, score the surface of the plank, the release paper, and the adhesive strip. Break the plank at the score mark. Then cut the adhesive strip on the back of the plank. Always be sure to measure and place the cut end of the plank against the wall. Avoid using cut pieces less than 6 inches at the ends of the rows. With the first row complete, position the row about 1/8 inch away from the wall. Inserting spacers makes this adjustment easy. Start the second row now by cutting a plank about 24 inches long. Remove the release paper from the plank in the first row and carefully lay in the cut plank, with the cut end against the wall. Always leave the release paper attached until you are ready to install the next plank. This will protect the adhesive strip from gathering dust and dirt. If you need to reposition a plank because it did not go together well, simply peel back the plank, reposition it, and lay it back down against the adjoining plank. It's that easy. Hand roll the area over the adhesive strip to embed the plank into the adhesive. Continue this process to complete the second row. Cut the starting plank for the third row about 12 inches long and continue installing the planks. For this installation, we are installing into an adjoining room. And as you can see, when you extend the plank through the doorway, you have to be able also to install the planks back toward the wall. To do this, you must have an adhesive strip along both sides of a plank. Use a heat gun to warm the adhesive strip area on the back of one plank. Flip it over and place it against a second. Then carefully pull up the first plank, leaving the second with adhesive strips on both sides. Once you have made a row of planks with tape on both sides, you can continue to install the planks in both directions. It's important to make sure that the planks are well seated in the adhesive strips. That's all there is to a Surface Source floating plank installation. When finishing the job, keep in mind that this is a floating floor. Do not pin the floor when installing the molding pieces, and don't anchor the floor with the transition moldings. Finally, if you ever need to replace a damaged plank in a floating plank floor, the steps are very easy. Cut through the corner of the damaged plank. Warming the area with a heat gun makes the plank release more easily. Using a putty knife, start lifting the plank. Work your way along the plank, carefully lifting it off the adhesive. Use one hand to pull up the plank, the other hand to hold down the adjacent flooring. Once the damaged plank is removed, take the adhesive strip off from the replacement piece and carefully install it. Roll the new plank with a hand roller. That's all there is to making a simple repair in a floating plank floor. Now that you've seen the installation steps, we're sure you'll agree that Lowe's Surface Source floating plank may be the easiest flooring product you'll ever install.